Hello and welcome to the channel. And for today's video, we are going to be looking at this custom, and what you're seeing in front of you is just a piece of this custom. I have spoken about this custom a few times in a few videos, only referencing the cape. So the figure, I have him displayed on top of this I guess thermos or water cup, or coffee cup, whatever you want to call it. Batman coffee mug. The um the figure itself, though, let me pull up the camera here to put the figure in the shot. Is this guy here. This is the Mattel DC Multiverse Batman from the DC Universe Classics. This is the Superfriends version. So this was one of the first, since I got back into collecting a few years ago. This was probably the first or second Batman action figure that I got, because he was pretty much filled the bill to what I wanted in a classic style Batman figure. Since I just got back into collecting, recently, I missed out on a lot of stuff. But over my whole, you could say adult life, I don't know, since the 20s, I've been actively trying to look for a cool Batman action figure to have, on display. And but over time, different interests, and I stopped looking for a while. I would, on occasion, drop by the toy aisles at Targets and Walmarts, but not regularly, and every now and then I would drop in at the Toys R Us to see what was there. But I wouldn't find. I would usually find the variant Batmans. The ones with like with the scuba gear, or the armor, or the different colors. This and that. Never a basic, basic comic book style. Black, blue, and gray, or black and gray Batman suit. It was always the one with the bunch of accessories, right? Never the basic standard figure. And then once the McFarlane started doing the multiverse figures, it was a fresh start. So I was able to find, I would be able to find something at retail, easily, and not having to pay, reseller prices for certain figures. So when I found this guy, I think I found him on eBay. I found him on eBay for a good price. He wasn't too expensive. It was around 20, 25. I don't know, 25, something like that. It wasn't too expensive. It was basically like paying for a new modern figure, right? So the price wasn't too high. And I got him, and he fit the bill of that classic blue and gray Batman that I always wanted. And then over time, that's when I got into customizing, and the rest is history. You've seen a bunch of Batman videos on this channel. This is another one. But on this guy, he was my first attempt at trying to do a McFarlane style year two uh, Batman, you know, with the huge long cape and everything. So let me see if I can get everything in the shot here, so you can get a better grasp at the cape length here. Let me lower the tripod here just a second. There you go. Right. So it's just your standard regular cloth cape, right? Nothing too fancy. There's no wires or anything. But to get in a grasp of the length of the cape, there's the where the feet are. All right. So it's a good probably 2 inches longer than the figure itself, right? And there's nothing to this custom. Mostly just it's just the cape and the cowl that I gave him, right? Because I removed the this figure came. What did this figure come with? I think he had the clip-on cape, like the Superfriends style cape, where it would clip. It was the cape was on a C clip that would just hang on the back of it on the back of the neck. I don't know where I put that one. But yeah. For this guy, I went full out and did him the cape and the cowl. And the accessory that he has, I believe that's from. Well, we'll look at it in just a second. So yeah, this is just the opening shot of the figure. Let me just pause real quick to reset, and we'll get a better look at the figure. Okay, so here we have the figure on the ground, you could say, and so yeah, so I mean, just a few things to mention. The figure, he originally had the black, you know, pseudo shadow paint on his forehead as well, but the look that I was going for was the more traditional, like Neil Adams, Jim Aparo style, where the shadow would drop not on his forehead but down on by the bridge of his nose and underneath the eyes and onto the cheeks on the cheek part of the mask. So that's what I was going for mainly with this look, right? Because I wasn't gonna get a McFarlane style look from him on this figure, but as part of my experimentation, I decided to give him the big ass cape, right? So you can see here it's going out of frame, but the cape is pretty much like I showed you. It's the length of the figure plus a couple inches longer, right? And the way that it drapes on the floor, you know, it's you can, if in the future I decide to do some creative you know, give it some wire, I can probably get the look I want for like that year two image, you know, the one that McFarlane is using for his figure, the one that he's releasing for his year two, where the cape is flowing to the side. I guess it's flowing to this that side, right? But yeah, you know, to get some cool poses with this cape, with this long cape, right? I can put some wire in there and get that to look. But for right now, you know, the way I have the figure displayed, it's just with him standing on this coffee mug thermos, right? And just by looking at the figure, itself, like I said, the way it the cape drapes on the floor, it looks cool. It's the material that I found. It's not a stretchy material per se. I mean, I think it's lycra, but it's not super stretchy. So it's not as transparent also. But the way it drops and flows, it's not too stiff. So you can even just so even just by playing with the figure by itself, without any wires, you can get some interesting photography if you want, But the way but just the way the cape drapes to the floor, right? So you can get tricky and maybe put some like toothpicks underneath and have some creative posing on it, so that you can get some stuff up in the air or underneath, like I said, put some cable or some wire underneath and have it drape and being held up in the air, different posing. So yeah, the thing is though, when you're doing your Batman capes, you can't do them in a straight circle when you're cutting out the templates and then putting them on the figure, simply because of the width of the shoulders, right? And then there's the dimensions on the figure itself, on the chest wise. Let me so you can't just make the cape in the shape of a circle and then cut the little bat shapes, right, around it and call it a day. You have to be a little creative, because once you put the cape on top of the figure and the way it drops and everything, you might end up with unevenness, right? The purpose, most again, it's, even though it's super long, the main purpose is, when I try and display my Batmans, is that when if I ever have him drape, I'll put the cape over his shoulder like this. I don't want the tip of the cape to be floating up in the air like this, right? I want it to be on the ground, touching the ground for the most part. Although I do have some customs where the cape is up high like this, but again, that's after I discovered some through trial and error, right, as to what I want with my Batman capes per se. This one, maybe, I mean, I don't know, maybe a little too long, a tad too long. Maybe if I cut an inch off, it would be nice. It would still be nice. But again, it's a fun figure. It's what do you call it? It was my first real attempt at trying to give him give one of my figures a cloth cape. I used my experience from this, and then work on the other figures that I've had. And then as far as the rest of the figure, he also has a cloth cowl, right, neck piece, you could say. It has a similar setup to the one that I did for the Detective Comics 1000, the McFarlane, where I give him like an extra seam in the back just for to hide, since the way it's basically like a scarf. When I'm doing the neck pieces, it's basically like a scarf, right? So it's a long rectangular shape that you drape right from behind, right, like in a cross shape. I glue it, right, when I do the gluing. So once it sets, I cut the pieces so that they're joint at the middle, so there's a seam, right? Excuse me. And then to hide the seam, that's when I do this like patch, this extra piece on top to hide the seam, and it looks more, it's a more solid, you know, connection, or I'm protecting so that the piece doesn't come apart, right? So that's just like an extra layer of, it not only does it add to the design, just a little, but it's there for a purpose. And although it does hinder a little bit of the posability of the head going up and down, you still get a lot of, left and right. You don't need to have them looking up too much. I could probably, you can see there's more underneath. But I could, cut that down just a little bit. So I don't know if I can pop off the head. I don't want to rip off the head and damage the ball joint. But it's basically that idea. So again, I used the glue method, where I dip or cover the cloth in glue. Use the hair dryer to heat it, and then the cool air to dry it off. So back and forth, so that the cloth gets real stiff, and then just let it set, right? And then the weapon that he has, that I gave him, this is from the McFarlane. This is from the McFarlane figure. Remember, he had the grapple gun shooting the grapple with the rope in different entanglement, in mid entangled position. Well, I just cut it off and drilled a hole in there. There we go. I drilled a hole in there so that you can just put the end that's straight out, and just put it in there. So yeah, it's that's pretty much it on this guy. It's like I said, I have him displayed with that with the cape, fully stretched out, But if I ever get tired, I can always put him in a pose like this, and have the cape, cover him up, and get creative with the ends, But yeah, it's a pretty simple custom, like I said. So, and it's also fun. So there you go. So this is quick video, not too much to it. Hope you watch. I hope you're watching. Hope you liked it. Like, comment, subscribe, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.